What's up everyone, we're back working on the van again today, and today's video is going to be about how I fitted the pods on the sides. Going to touch slightly upon how to prep them ready for paint, but the majority of the video is going to be on fitting. I didn't want to cut too much out of the video so you don't miss anything, but just to keep the length of the video down, I have sped up a lot of the footage. Right, what you will need for fitting these pods. You will need a drill, preferably with a small drill bit for pilot holes, and then either an M6 drill bit or a step up bit. Sealer gun with polyurethane sealer. I would get about 3 tubes just to be on the safe side. A 10mm spanner and a 10mm socket with a ratchet, or depending on what bolts you use. I used star drive bolts. So you need a tool for them. Masking tape, degreaser or panel wipe, whatever you want to call it, latex gloves, tissue or rags, and finally access to a vacuum cleaner and some steps or a hopper. And I think that is about it. So to sand these down ready for paint, first we need some guide coat, sanding block, dust mask, and some 400 grit sandpaper. That's both pods sanded fully down now. We need to make sure there's no orange peel left on there. It's all smooth all the way around and we're ready to paint. Well, first of all, we're ready to fit, but you could paint that if you wanted to. Before I go and bond the pods on, I want to make sure the holes are drilled to bolt them on with. So I've already drilled 3 at the top, and then the 3 at the bottom I'm going to line up with these 3 holes that are already in the internal structure. That makes it easier for me to get a socket on the inside. You can drill as many holes in the side for the mounting as you want, but 3 is enough. So start off with a pilot drill bit and then work your way up to the size of the bolt that you're using. So I'm using a step up drill bit to open the hole up to M6. Make sure when doing the temporary fit of the pods on the side that you get them exactly where you want them. When you mark out where you want the holes, that's where the pod is then going to be bolted to. So you need to make sure that the pod is perfectly lined up as if that was the final fitting on the outside. Could really do with 2 people by here. That's where it needs to be. The best thing to do by here is just to use a marker pen and mark through the holes that you've drilled straight onto the pod, and then you can take the pod back off again and you can drill the holes into the pod on a trestle or whatever. wasn't quite happy with the placement of the holes on the bottom because it made it quite difficult to get a nut on the back. So I've just raised them up a little bit, and obviously same on the body of the van. Obviously you won't see any of it because it'll be covered up. Gonna apply the primer now. Now on the van. You wouldn't hire me as a window fitter, would you? Luckily it has to be painted. The primer's dry now, so we can start putting the sealer on. Start from that corner. Get the tape ready. This is something I never do now because I'm an idiot. I'm gonna go put some gloves on. Getting this stuff off your hands is a nightmare. You always find you get it all over your hands on a Friday afternoon before you're gonna go out or something. Just gonna hoover up. Use the vacuum cleaner, as you meant to say. So none of these shavings get stuck in the sealer. Should have done that first. Right, we're ready to go on. Missed that then because I was struggling, but it's on now, and now we're going to get some bolts in there. So I'm going to use this style bolt. Yeah, it's got a nice wide head on it. It's a star drive. I don't need to use a washer, and then got a nut for the back, 10mm nut with an edge around it, so I don't need to fiddle around with a washer on the back of it either. Just went in. I'm not going to do them crazy tight because all the sealer will squirt out. I'm just going to nip them up. Right, because I'm a dumbass, I'm just going to clamp the top so it's not going to have any nuts and bolts in the top. And the reason for that is because I trimmed off too much on the lip, so there's not enough material there to get a nut and bolt in. any I make from in the future from the molds, I know not to trim as much off. There we go, all clamped. So you can see there, we've got a bit skirted out. So what I'll do now is just tidy up the sealer that's squirted out. Made it quite difficult on this side because it's right up against the glass. Okay, what I'm just using there is painter's degreaser or panel wipe, and it takes the sealer off. Now we gotta do it all over again, exactly the same process, just on this side now. Because the passenger side pod, or opening rather, is actually shorter in height than the driver's side, we can put nut and bolts through the flanges here rather than further down like we did on the driver's side. And make the holes bigger. You thought I missed an opportunity there for an innuendo, didn't you? No, I thought it. Right, holes are drilled. Now we can put the primer on. Yeah, you guessed it. I cut too much of the flange off again on the passenger side. I'm an idiot. But any I make in the future, the flange, the return, the mounting surface, whatever you want to call it, is going to be about that thick. About that much longer. See, I knew it. I knew it. Man. Let's get the primer on. Yeah, in between moving the camera around, old Jazzy had an accident. Lush. I even just went to get gloves as well, didn't I? Now we can put the sealer on. We gotta get the bolts in. Clamped with some mole grips. Just to show you where I got the bolts on. So there they are on the passenger side, and then I'm not sure if you can see there's a nut on the back, and then on the driver's side got them by there. So as I said, through all these access holes. They're actually access holes for the bolts if it had a sliding door on the driver's side from factory, because there they are on the passenger side. That's how you get to the bolts for the sliding door rail. So yeah, that's what they're there for. So just utilize them for the pods. Tidied all the sealer up around all the edges now, same as the other side. We'll probably give that till tomorrow now, just to dry off. Sealer's dried overnight now. I think they recommend at least 12 hours, so I always just leave it till the next day. So now what we're going to do is mask it off around the edges with some tape, and then put a nice extra bead of sealer all the way around the edge, just to make it look a little bit neater, and just to make sure no water can come in. Get a fresh nozzle for this, because we cut this one wide to install the pods. We don't need it that wide for this. I'll probably have to change the tube now anyway. It's at the end of it. Now time to smooth it all over. You're probably like, you haven't got gloves on again, but I don't like doing this part of the process with gloves on because it tends to snag the gloves. Peel the tape off. Now on to the other side. Okay, we're ready. Actually had enough for this side too. Peel the tape back off. Got any sealer on the panels, then just wipe it off with degreaser. Wet sealer, that is. If you've got any dry sealer on there, you can just kind of pick it off with your nail. Okay, so here's a close-up of what we just done. Just put a nice bead of sealer all the way around. Excuse the mess of the primer there. I'll be sanding that off. All the way around. Just to make it look better and make sure water doesn't get in. Obviously, before you go putting in any interior inside the van, you got to do a water test to make sure you've sealed it up perfectly, because you don't want to start putting interior in and then you find water dripping in and then you got to rip it all the interior back out again. That wouldn't be good. Right, just to show you measurements, so I've got it hooked on there now. So it's 5 foot. It's actually about 5'11", and then if we include the pods, so I've got it tape there because I haven't got Debbie McGee to help me. So there's 6 foot, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and where my finger is 5 inches then. So 6 foot 5. So that concludes the fitting of the pods. If you've got any questions about the pods in general or on the fitting of them, then pop it in the comments and I will be happy to answer any questions at the end of the next video. So keep an eye out for that. Click on the subscribe button to keep up to date on the progress of the van. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.